All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking real music in real time for real people just like you and just like me. So recently, I suggested that the band Bon Jovi find a replacement singer, which of course is ridiculous for several reasons. Number one, the band is named after John Bon Jovi. But after hearing John out on the current tour, I suggested they replace John with a gentleman by the name of Johnny Gioeli, who has a very similar name to John Bon Jovi. John, you could even shorten it, and it could be John Gioeli, John Bon Jovi. And, that might actually work. But it is kind of silly and stupid and ridiculous, I'll be honest, because again, the band is named after John Bon Jovi. So I do think he would be a great replacement singer. Recently, Phil Collins and Genesis have called it a career. And it's kind of sad because back on, I think it was March 27th, Phil Collins and Tony Banks and Mike Rutherford played music together for the very last time, or at least that's what they told everybody. I do think this is likely the end of Phil Collins as far as his live touring and most likely his studio recording career, which is really sad. But Phil Collins has a son by the name of Simon. Here is Simon's album from last year. It's called Becoming Human, and it's an amazing album as it combines both the Peter Gabriel sound and the Phil Collins sound and merges it into one incredibly great melodic progressive album. And the title track, Becoming Human, is just mesmerizing. Simon, who is the eldest son of Phil Collins, sounds just a little bit like his father. And I'm being a little sarcastic here. At times, he sounds a lot like his dad, especially when he gets into his more upper vocal register. When he's down lower, he's a little less like his dad, but still a lot like his dad. So much so that I'm not sure why, if Genesis wanted to continue with Rutherford, Banks, maybe Daryl Sturmer, and obviously we bring back Nic Collins on drums. Nick is yet, I think, maybe Phil's youngest son. No, he's actually, I think, got a kid that's like 10 years old or 8 years old or something like that. So you'd have two of the Collins boys in Genesis, Nic Collins on drums, Simon Collins on vocals, or I believe Simon does play drums. Maybe they can alternate. It would be fascinating. It would be interesting, and it would keep this brand going. In fact, these guys haven't recorded new material in, I don't know how many years, since I think, 2007 maybe? Could be longer than that. Could go back into the late 90s. The point being is that Genesis could continue with Simon Collins. Now, Simon Collins has had some issues a number of years ago. There were some substances that were discovered, and apparently he was sent to jail briefly. This was probably 7 or 8 years ago. It's the most media attention Simon Collins has ever received. His music has been really creative, really brilliant. He was in a band called Sound of Contact, which was quite good, but nobody here in the United States really knew about it. And very few people know how Simon would just be the perfect extension of what his father did. Simon Collins is a huge fan of the old Genesis stuff, meaning that, again, he likes his dad and he likes Peter Gabriel, which would maybe even open up some new possibilities for the band Genesis moving forward. Now, again, both Mike Rutherford and Tony Banks are getting a little bit long in the tooth. and maybe they don't want to continue with Genesis, and they feel as though that would be sacrilegious to consider Simon. But there's really no better replacement on planet Earth than the son of Phil Collins, Simon Collins, who, again, sounds like his dad, looks a little bit like his dad to some degree. Certainly the hairline issues are there, not to poke fun at anything, but if you want to see somebody who could represent what Phil was and did, there's no better choice than somebody who has the same DNA and has a range vocally, which is so, close that it's a little scary at times. So anyway, that's just a suggestion I have. If you haven't heard this album by Simon Collins, he has other works out there. This one came out last year, and I heard it once and I said, holy crap, Batman. It's not exactly like Genesis. It's not exactly like Phil Collins solo. It's not exactly like Peter Gabriel. It's everything put together. Heavy on the keyboards. So if you like the more electronic production and sound, this thing's got it, and you'll enjoy it. At the very least, if you didn't know about Simon Collins, now you do. For fans of Genesis who might want the band to continue on somehow, this isn't sacrilegious. I mean, Deacon Fry did it for a little while. He's no longer doing it, and those were big shoes to fill, trying to be his father, Glenn Fry, which, again, vocally speaking, here's something. Vocally speaking, Deacon Fry was further from his father, Glenn, than Simon Collins is to his dad, Phil. Simon is closer to Phil, and I think the audience would really enjoy some Genesis with Simon Collins, who, by the way, is a great songwriter, and I think maybe that infusion would give the band a new lease on life, maybe new direction, and it would certainly be very interesting for the fans, as maybe this chapter doesn't have to be over. Maybe the franchise doesn't have to, retire. But of course, this is this is something that you're thinking about and saying, well, maybe this guy doesn't want to follow in his father's footsteps. He doesn't want to live in his dad's shadow. But I think this is just an incredible opportunity. And I'm a little bit late to the party finding out about Simon Collins. And a lot of that has to do with the music industry. They don't want you to hear anything that might be a continuation of what we all had 30 years ago. They don't want that. They want that just to fade away and people to forget about it and have nobody really carrying that baton. They should be playing stuff by Simon Collins because people would be driving off the road or pulling over to find out who that was. And it would just be a great thing for people who think this kind of music is dead. So my crazy idea, it's crazy, and a good promoter somewhere with deep pockets might want to, consider calling everybody and saying, hey, this is a pretty good idea, and see what happens. Sometimes money has a way of changing someone's mind. So you never know. All right, people, again, thanks for watching the videos. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Most importantly, we're in a new month and I'm in need of some new patrons. As predicted, the change from month to month did something, and it wasn't exactly in the positive direction. So if you like the content here, I'm just looking for $1 a month. I mean, some people try to give a lot more than that, and then they cut back and so forth. I'd rather see people consistently give $1, $2 a month. We've got over 55,000 subscribers, which is a little bit just surreal to think about. And if we had, say, 10% of those subscribers helping out at $1 a month, I would not be asking you to give $1 a month. Every so often, I'm going to have to remind people, hey, there's Patreon, but it would be just kind of a footnote or an afterthought. But in these tough economic times, it's hard to maintain the patron list. And I know it's hard for people to continue to give money when they have to deal with all of this inflation and craziness, gas prices costing people to, spend $100 to fill up their gas tank. It's just absolutely crazy and uncalled for. So I understand that, but I ask you, if you can do $1 a month, that'll be much appreciated. Thanks again for watching. And of course, as always, I will see you soon.